What's good, you guys? It's your boy Jared Bless coming to you guys with another video. I'm sorry, guys, I took the past 2 weeks off from these previous fight night cards. A lot's been going on, but we're back. We're back for UFC 281, and we're just gonna try to be as consistent as we possibly can be. So make sure you guys leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe, and let's get straight into today's video. So today we're gonna be talking about Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler. We are a few days away from UFC 281, and I'm super excited. If you guys don't know, Dustin Poirier is my favorite fighter by far, number one on the list. So I'm not going to be biased on this because I am placing bets. I'm going to make a video on the best bets you can do for UFC 281, the best picks, everything of that nature. So stay tuned for that, guys. But jumping right into the fight, guys, we got Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler. Now, Michael Chandler is a great fighter, in my opinion, and obviously so is Dustin Poirier. But if we're just looking at the past couple of opponents that Dustin Poirier has fought and who he's beaten, first off, we'll start off with Conor McGregor, former champion, Max Holloway, former champion, Eddie Alvarez, former champion, Justin Gaethje, former interim champion, Anthony Pettis, former champion. And he's pretty much just racked up his wins. The last loss that he's had that was pretty much unacceptable was in 2016 to Michael Johnson when he got caught with that shot that knocked him out. And since then, guys, the only people that he has lost to is Charles Oliveira and Khabib Nurmagomedov, which were two grappling losses. Obviously, he was choked out by both of them. He got pretty close to beating both of those guys also. So that just shows you how good he is. You know, close but not close enough. You can say that. But in the Khabib fight, he got close to locking in that guillotine choke. I feel like if he went full guard, he could have got the choke. But, he wasn't in full guard. He was kind of like, Khabib was kind of in a half guard mount on top. And Poirier had that guillotine locked up. But Khabib was able to transition to a side control and, ultimately got out of the choke and finished the fight. With the Charles Oliveira fight, Dustin Poirier dropped Charles Oliveira. And I honestly feel if he would have jumped on top, he would have been able to finish the fight. We saw what happened with Charles Oliveira versus Islam. Obviously, I had Charles winning that fight. The way I broke that fight down, you guys can check out that video if you want to. Wasn't a terrible breakdown, but it's just the way how the fight played out. But I feel like if Dustin Poirier would have jumped on top to try to finish the fight, he would have been a lot more safe to do it. A guy like Justin Gaethje wasn't really, it wasn't really smart for him to jump on top and try to finish the fight when he got the knockdown on Oliveira, because he just doesn't have any ground game at all. But Dustin Poirier does. I think he has a good enough ground game to hurt Oliveira and get on top and finish the fight with some extra punches. So it's kind of frustrating to, see that happened for him, but it is what it is. So I say all of that to say that, obviously the level of competition that Dustin Poirier has fought, fought and beat has been very high level competition. And the last two people that he's lost to in the past 5+ years or so is only, two of the greatest lightweight champions of all time. Charles Oliveira is definitely up there in the top 5, top 3. And so is Khabib at number 1 pretty much right now. So when we compare it to Michael Chandler is a good fighter, but I just feel like on the feet, not even I just feel like, we know this, on the feet, Dustin Poirier is a far better striker, far more technical, and I would say he's a far better technical brawler. Michael Chandler is a brawler himself at times when he wants to, like the majority of the time when he's trying to put on a great fight. He's a brawler, but the people that Michael Chandler has fought since he's gotten to the UFC, he fought Dan Hooker at UFC 257, and that was off of a brutal fight that Dan Hooker had with Dustin Poirier. And pretty much, if we look at Dan Hooker's recent fights, he just hasn't been the same since that Poirier fight. Like, fights like that, you don't get to walk out of the octagon the same person he was before in terms of being a fighter. Even just the same person in general. Like, you take all that damage, it changes you. So Dan Hooker hasn't been the same guy, same fighter. He was knocked out viciously by Michael Chandler. So, okay, that's one win. The next fight Michael Chandler had was against Charles Oliveira. And we all know what Charles Oliveira was doing to every single lightweight outside of Islam. He was finishing everybody. Even the Tony Ferguson fight could have been stopped or something like that. Maybe his arm probably was nearly blown out. So we know what happened with that. And the next fight, he goes on and loses to Justin Gaethje in a fight where he lost unanimous decision. Like, Justin Gaethje won the fight clearly. Michael Chandler just wasn't really being technical at all. Just very, very out of control. Trying to put on a crazy fight. I remember watching that fight, and it was just basically Michael Chandler trying to go for that fight of the year, which they ended up getting, but he wasn't technical. When he tried to shoot on Justin Gaethje has really, really good takedown defense. Justin Gaethje was able to, roll with the takedowns, sprawl, So Michael Chandler couldn't do anything with that. So it was just pretty much a L of a night for him. And then he fought Tony Ferguson, which in the first round, that was the best Tony Ferguson that we've all seen in the past how many years? Past 2 years. That first round, Tony Ferguson was the best we've seen. He knocked Michael Chandler down. Obviously, we saw how that played out in round number 2. Michael Chandler ended up getting the front kick. But I love Tony Ferguson. He's also one of my favorite fighters, second or third between him and Max Holloway. But yeah, to see that fight play out like that, it was cool to say that, he got the finish on Tony, but at the same time, Tony's just not the same guy. Now, to be fair, in the same breath, I know I just said that Tony looked great in round number 1, but, Tony getting knocked out at that point, it's like they're going to look at how many losses he's had, and you're not going to get as much credit for beating Tony now versus if you would beat him back then. So who Chandler has beaten has been, Dan Hooker and Tony Ferguson. It's like, yeah, both guys were former top 5 ranked lightweights. And Tony Ferguson is one of the greatest lightweights of all time with the longest winning, win streak in lightweight history at 12. But, right now, I got to compare these two fighters, guys. And I just know for a fact, anybody that's a real MMA fan just knows that Dustin Poirier is a far better technical striker. He has the better raw grappling, the better raw jiu-jitsu. Michael Chandler is very, very explosive. That's a danger in this fight for Dustin Poirier. Even though he has taken shots in the past, I don't want him to take shots versus Michael Chandler because anything can happen. It's a fight. Michael Chandler is very powerful. He can knock you down, knock you out. I was actually a little bit surprised that he didn't knock down, Gaethje very badly. I think he did get like a slight knockdown on him, but I thought that he would like flatline him pretty much almost, like just because of how powerful he is. But it just didn't play out like that way. So I think that Justin Gaethje has a worse chin than Poirier does. I don't like to play the MMA game too much, but I think that Justin Gaethje has a worse chin than Poirier does. And Chandler landed some clean shots on Gaethje, and Gaethje was able to weather the storm and survive. So I think that Poirier is going to be that much more technical boxer, much more technical brawler. That's what he likes to do. He gets in firefights, and he's very technical with it. Very good counter striker. Obviously he fights out of this southpaw, but he wants to fire that left straight. He's gonna switch into the orthodox and then back to southpaw. So yeah, Dustin Poirier, I definitely believe he's gonna win this fight. Obviously, Chandler is very dangerous, very explosive. But his only path to victory for Chandler, I believe, is he has to wrestle immediately. If Michael Chandler decides to make this an MMA fight and say, I'm gonna wrestle right away, or I'm gonna mix it up, I'm gonna try to clinch, I'm gonna mix it up, then he definitely has a good chance of winning the fight. Poirier's wrestling, it just hasn't looked great. Obviously, it was against two of the greatest guys on the ground in Khabib and Charles Oliveira. So there was, an obvious threat there. And both guys he almost beat. Khabib was a little bit more further along of him almost beating him. But, you guys get what I'm pretty much saying with the guillotine choke. But, yeah, that's pretty much a breakdown of the fight for me, guys. Dustin Poirier being the better technical boxer on the feet. Michael Chandler being a more explosive, dangerous fighter. He has the wrestling in his back pocket. And Poirier doesn't have the greatest takedown defense. So the best bet for Michael Chandler to win this fight would be to, implement the wrestling early on. But if he doesn't do that and he doesn't mix it up, he's definitely going to lose this fight. So that's pretty much a breakdown for this fight, guys. Michael Chandler versus Dustin Poirier. I'm super excited. I cannot wait. I know you guys can't wait either. But UFC 281, we got some more videos coming. I'm going to do the Alex Pereira versus Izzy video. And that'll probably be it. And then I'll just focus on the picks for the, for the card. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video, man. Peace.